Hey guys, welcome back to the VHS Revolution show. I'm David Schumann, and today I'm doing my Oscar predictions. Okay, so let's do our Oscar predictions. Everybody's doing their predictions right now. Might as well. You know, even though there's 10 Best Picture nominees, there's really only 2 or maybe even 3 movies that really have a shot at winning. So if you're sitting there biting your nails hoping that Wicked is going to win Best Picture, you should probably know the truth right now. It's not going to happen. Okay? So I'm going to go through the categories, alphabetically. And I'm going to tell you the nominees, and then I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win. So the nominees in Best Actor are Adrien Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Colman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. I think this category is, like many of the categories, actually hard to predict because Timothée Chalamet has won some awards. Adrien Brody has won some awards. Timothée Chalamet won the SAG Award last week, which sometimes means that whoever wins the SAG Award is going to win Best Actor. Adrien Brody's also won a bunch of awards. Who I think will win is Adrien Brody. Who I want to win is Timothée Chalamet. That being said, I will not be disappointed if Adrien Brody wins. I think he's a terrific actor. He hasn't even been nominated or really even been in anything Oscar worthy since The Pianist, give or take some Wes Anderson films. So I would be happy to see him get it, and his performance in The Brutalist is really wonderful. I personally love Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown. I think he was absolutely 100% Bob Dylan. In fact, now as I think about these Bob Dylan songs, I'm thinking about them in the movie sung by Timothée Chalamet as opposed to the actual Bob Dylan version. So maybe that's just me. I think he's pretty great, and I'll be happy if either one wins. Actor in a supporting role. The nominees are Yura Borisov for Honora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. Let's be honest. Kieran Culkin has won every award in this category, and I think he's going to get the Oscar as well. I think he's deserving. I thought he was great in A Real Pain. I really loved A Real Pain. And that's pretty much it. I think all the actors in this category are really great. I loved Yura Borisov's performance in Honora. I thought his character was maybe the best next to Honora herself. I thought he was just terrific and so subtle. I also loved Edward Norton in A Complete Unknown and Guy Pearce in The Brutalist. But it's really Kieran Culkin's award, and if there's anything that's really easy to predict, it's probably this category. Actress in a leading role. The nominees are Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gasson for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. This is another one that's kind of like Best Actor. It's like a lot of awards have gone to Mikey Madison and a lot of awards have gone to Demi Moore. I feel like the scales are tipping towards Demi Moore. Feels like, like she said at the Golden Globe, she's never been awarded for anything. And so it feels like now is her time in a way. I know the Oscars have tended to do this a lot over the years, but they've also given the award to what you would call like the ingenue or a young actress getting her first nomination. So it's happened before in both ways, and I think this time it's going to go to Demi Moore. Actress in a supporting role. The nominees are Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. She also has won every award. These supporting categories are really, pretty easy to predict. I think Zoe Saldana is going to get this award. I don't know if it's going to be the only award for Amelia Perez. At first, when the award season started, it seemed like there was a huge wave of support for Amelia Perez. That might have waned given all the controversy. But I think this award is pretty much a lock. That being said, I thought Monica Barbaro was great in A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande. All these actresses were just terrific in their films. And if there's going to be any upset, maybe Ariana Grande for Wicked, but I really don't see any upset. Animated feature film, the nominees are Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. In the past, these awards have typically gone to the Pixar movie, but in recent years, the Pixar movies haven't quite hit in the way that they used to. I don't think Inside Out 2 is going to win. The first movie did win Best Animated Feature back in 2016, but I think this time it's going to go to The Wild Robot. I'm not going to do the short film categories because I haven't seen any of the short films. And I also haven't heard anything about the short film, so I would have no idea what to predict. So we're going to skip to cinematography. The nominees for cinematography are The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. This is tough. Greg Fraser won for Dune, the first Dune, a few years ago. I don't think he's going to win again for Dune Part 2. I am just going to go out and say that Lowell Crowley for The Brutalist is going to win. But that being said, Paul Guillaume for Emilia Perez could win. That movie's really beautiful looking. No matter what you think about the content, the visuals are quite stunning. But I'm going to go with Lowell Crowley for The Brutalist. Costume design. The nominees are Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but this year it's pretty tough because it's really hard to say. Wicked got a lot of nominations, but I don't know that I see it winning a lot, maybe in some of these technical categories. So do I go Nosferatu for costume design or do I go Wicked? I think it's going to go to Wicked. Directing. The nominees are Anora, Sean Baker, The Brutalist, Brady Corbet, A Complete Unknown, James Mangold, Emilia Perez, Jacques Audiard, and The Substance, Coralie Fargy. It's kind of between, this whole time it's been between Anora and The Brutalist. Some of these Oscars are going to go to The Brutalist, some of them are going to go to Anora, but when you boil it down to the Best Director category, I think the award is going to go to Sean Baker. I think just what he did is just so unique and amazing. And Anora is my favorite film of the nominated films for Best Picture. It's my favorite film of the year. And it's a movie that just feels so alive and unpredictable. And I think everything Sean Baker did with the camera, with the music, working with the actors, just the flow of the film, everything he did is just really incredible. And I think this is his year. Documentary feature film. The nominees are Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. Now, I should probably say this now. I should have said it at the beginning, but here you go. I'm not a paid moviegoer. I have to pay my own money to see movies, and I also have to find time in my schedule to see them. So I haven't seen any of the documentary nominees. So I'm just going to pick Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat because it's the one I've heard most about. So there you go. Film editing. The nominees are Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and Wicked. I'm going to go with Anora. Typically, the winner of the Best Editing Oscar also goes on to win Best Picture. It hasn't always gone that way, but it's kind of a typical thing. And Anora was actually edited by its director, Sean Baker. And if Sean Baker wins, he'll join James Cameron and Alfonso Cuarón as the third director in history to win the Oscar for editing his film. Cameron won for Titanic, Cuarón won for Gravity, and I think Sean Baker is going to win for Anora. If there's an upset, I think it could be Emilia Perez. International feature film. The nominees are I'm Still Here, The Girl with the Needle, Emilia Perez, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and Flow. You know, this is the first year that 2 films are nominated in both international feature and Best Picture. For the last 5 years, I think maybe there has been 1 year where this hasn't been the case, but there's always been at least one film nominated both in Best Picture and Best International Feature. And this year it's 2. So that's a first. That being said, I think that the Academy is going to go with Emilia Perez. I have a feeling that the Academy actually really loves this movie, which might differ from a lot of what I've read on social media and people posting YouTube videos about how bad Emilia Perez is. I actually liked the movie. I didn't think it was that bad, but I don't have the same perspective as some other people. So for what it was, from my perspective, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Not great, but I think the Academy is going to go with it for Best International Feature. And if they don't, I think they're going to go with I'm Still Here. Makeup and hairstyling. The nominees are A Different Man, Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. These are some good nominees. I think they're going to go with The Substance. The Substance is insane. Have I said it before? The Substance is insane. It's probably the craziest movie ever nominated for Best Picture, at least in the modern era. I can't think of another movie even close to the level of insanity that The Substance is. And I mean that in a good way. I love the movie, but that third act is bonkers. and the makeup is pretty incredible especially for Demi Moore and for the wackadoo monster that takes shape in the last act of the movie. I think it's pretty amazing work, and I think they're going to win. Best Original Score. The nominees are The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. To me, the one that stands out the most is The Brutalist. That score is just incredible, and maybe even for some people the best thing about the movie. And when I think of The Brutalist, I think of that score. It's just incredible. So I think that's going to win. That's my prediction. And if it doesn't, I think the score from Conclave has a good shot. Original song: El Mal from Emilia Perez, The Journey from the 6888, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Mia Camino from Emilia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. So I saw Emilia Perez. I do not remember any of these two songs, and I haven't heard any of the other songs either, which is rare. Usually I've heard at least one song from the nominated 5, but this year I couldn't tell you what. I mean, The Journey from the 6888, music and lyrics by Diane Warren. This is Diane Warren's 16th nomination, so the Academy might just feel like, the ultimate teases and just give it to Diane Warren finally, because why not? I mean, I don't know that any of these songs are better than the other. But if they don't give it to Diane Warren again, then they'll probably give it to a song from Emilia Perez. So I'll go with El Mal from Emilia Perez. Best Production Design. The nominees are The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. I think Wicked is going to take some of these technical awards. That's what they call them. But, they're just as important as everything else. And the production design in Wicked is pretty great. I don't know how much of it is practical and how much of it is CGI, but that's really not for me to know. The movie looks great. Does it look better than Nosferatu, Dune Part 2, Conclave, or The Brutalist? I don't know. But I think the Academy is going to go with Wicked. Sound. The nominees are Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. In the sound category, the Academy typically gives the award to action movies. I think that this might be the lone award that Dune Part 2 gets. So I think they're going to give it to Dune Part 2. The sound category used to be 2 categories. It used to be sound editing, which is basically the placement of the sounds, and sound mixing, which is the way that it's all blended together. Now they've combined it into one category, so it's sound. I think they're going to give it to Dune Part 2. Visual effects. The nominees are Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. I think that the movie that deserves it the most is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but I could see them giving it to Dune Part 2. I just can't see them giving this to Wicked. I just didn't think that the visual effects were all that outstanding to deserve the award. So I'm going to pick Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Adapted Screenplay. The nominees are Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. I've heard that Conclave has the best shot. I really liked Conclave up until the end, and then I thought it was just kind of a lame ending. Felt kind of arbitrary. Was the screenplay great up until then? Yeah, it was great. Personally, I would probably give it to... I unfortunately haven't seen Sing Sing. Don't see them giving it to Emilia Perez. A Complete Unknown is great, but I don't know that the screenplay is that outstanding. So, all right, I'll predict that they're going to give it to Conclave. Original Screenplay. The nominees are Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, The Substance. I have a feeling that they're going to give this Oscar to A Real Pain by Jesse Eisenberg, but it also feels like it could go to The Brutalist. All right, I'm going to predict they give it to A Real Pain. All right, Best Picture. The nominees are Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Here's the thing. Nominating 10 films, I get it. It's more films to acknowledge. They started it back in 2009 after people expected The Dark Knight to be nominated for Best Picture, and it wasn't. So then they expanded the category so that more films could be acknowledged. But really, even when there was 5 nominees, it always comes down to 2 or maybe 3 movies that really have a shot, and the rest are just kind of like happy to be nominated. And this year, I think that the race really comes down to Anora, The Brutalist, and Emilia Perez. I don't think that A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, or Wicked have any shot. I think that the Academy is going to go with Anora. I think it's been one of those movies that's like beloved by audiences, reviewed by critics, loved by the industry. I think that it's just an outstanding movie. The only thing about it is that it's really not that popular of a movie. There's probably tons of people who haven't seen it. And it's also, I mean, I say that people love it. The people who love it. And there's people who don't like it. You know, it's not a movie for everybody. But I kind of find that with a lot of the movies nominated for Best Picture this year. The only popular movies are Wicked, A Complete Unknown, and Dune Part 2. And of those three, I think A Complete Unknown has a better chance of winning than the other two. But there is a lot of love for The Brutalist. So it really is kind of tight. It's kind of cool that this year is more unpredictable. I like that I can't predict every winner. There's really no such thing as a lock. Last year, everybody thought that Lily Gladstone was going to win Best Actress for Killers of the Flower Moon, and it went to Emma Stone for Poor Things. I thought both actresses were great. But it's kind of the way it goes sometimes. There's a very famous time where this kind of thing happened back in 1996. Everybody thought that Lauren Bacall was going to get Best Supporting Actress for The Mirror Has Two Faces. And it went to Juliette Binoche for The English Patient, and everybody was shocked. Even Juliette Binoche was shocked. She even said in her speech, I thought that Lauren Bacall was going to get this award. So it does happen sometimes. You know, there's what's predictable, and then there's whatever the Academy does. And sometimes they're the same, and sometimes they're not. So I think Anora is going to walk away with it, but it could go to The Brutalist as well. Or something else could happen, and all of my predictions could be wrong. Who knows? We could go to Conclave. It could go to Emilia Perez. Emilia Perez could go Parasite and win Best International Feature and Best Picture. Who the fuck knows? But that's kind of what makes the Oscars exciting. Personally, I'm just ready for the Oscars to be over so we can move on and talk about other great movies. I have a whole lot of movies I want to talk about this year. From the VHS era. That's what this is, VHS Revolution. We're going to talk about VHS movies. Anyway, that's my predictions for the Oscars. The Oscars are on Sunday at 4 p.m. 4 p.m.? 4 p.m. So I'm looking forward to it. Conan O'Brien's hosting. Should be interesting. Probably not going to be highly rated because, let's face it, it's not the Oscars, it's the movies. So if the movies are popular, people will watch. If they're not as popular, people won't watch. There's not that much they can do about that. Anyway, if you like this video, I've done other videos about my love of the Oscars, my obsession with the Oscars over the years. You can watch those. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what your predictions are. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you next time on the VHS Revolution Show.